now. All right. It is the GOP debate. We have our Republican contenders for the Republican nomination in 2020. Mr. Sinclair of Washington, Mr. Marshall of Florida, and Senator-elect Chase Stevens from the state of Texas. All right, we will begin the debate. Here's your rules. You will get 1 minute to answer and 30 seconds for a rebuttal. And don't go over your time. It'll piss me off. I hope we understand that. And now let's begin as we dive into the first GOP debate. All right. So, opening statements will be 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'll just get clock thingy here, timer. All right, we will start with Mr. Sinclair.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Jacory Sinclair and I'm running for president. I think one of the most important issues that we will be tackling in our campaign is defeating the Democrats in November. I think that's been one thing that's very overlooked or underlooked in some terms. And I think we really need to do a very good job at defeating the Democrats in November because it's very important to maintain government competency. I've seen that in the community, not much has actually been done by the Democratic president. It comes to a point where I don't even know where what he's actually been doing under his presidency. So it's just something I want to bring into people's attention in terms of government capability and government competency. If you are a government that's looking for capability and competency, you should be able to work and do your job. And a lot of people have underlooked that, and especially people on the Democratic side.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. We will go to Mr. Marshall from the state of Florida. Your opening statement.
Vote for me. I don't really know much.
Could you say that louder, please?
So I've not been.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't really know what's going on, but am I running for president?
Yeah.
All right. 99% chance I'm dropping out, but if I don't, vote for me.
All right. Chase Stevens, your time.
Thank you, Mr. Senzo. Now, while one of my opponents just said he doesn't know what he's doing up here, I know exactly what I'm doing up here, and I know exactly what I'll do if elected to the presidency. Now, the Founding Fathers, they found this country under the ideals that we could create a society with as maximum freedom as possible, only bound by the contract of social order. This philosophy has been torn away, bit by bit, of government tyranny. And if elected, I promise every man, woman, and child in this great nation that I will restore those principles to the American people. And how will I do that? With tax cuts, with deregulation, and with allowing Americans to explore and expand upon the American dream. I will restore our infrastructure, and I will allow for the healthcare system to be able to be privatized, yet have a fair and good subsidy that will make sure that just because you're poor, you aren't going to have to die because you caught a cold. I believe that this country has seen great times, but it's also seen some not so great times. One of those times are right now, when we have a lame duck and an inactive president who, when he is legislating, is only preparing legislation that will hurt the American people. This is something that we can't stand for. That's why I'm running for president. And that's why we need to nominate someone like me who will take on the current Democratic president and win this election for one group of people. Not Democrats, not Republicans, not even independents, but the American people. Thank you.
All right. Jack Marshall has just dropped out of the debate, and he did that on the stage. That's funny. Let's go to our first question here.
Wait, so is he still going to debate or?
No, he dropped out.
Why not debate?
Yeah, come on, man.
Let's debate. You can be an Eric and drop out after the first debate, but just come on and debate.
All right, I'll debate.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll give you my.
Hey, look, Jack Marshall. Nobody's forcing you to debate here.
I'll give some opinions and views.
Yeah, but like, if you're not running, I don't know. You know. Here, I don't really want to waste any time here, so I'm just gonna like kick you if that's cool.
All right,
sorry.
That's fine.
All right, sorry. Well, already we had a campaign that ended.
Well, thank you very much for your participation, Jack. I'm sure the American.
Yeah.
Thank you for your attempt.
Yeah, I kind of liked him. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to our first question. What is your stance on the minimum wage being raised to $15 an hour? We will start with you, Chase Stevens.
Well, thank you. Now, my family, well, at least my extended family, my cousins, and actually my godfather owns a small business. It's called Jamie's. It's a seafood place in the harbor of Connecticut. I've been there quite a few times, but the issue with it is that it's small and it's struggling. And right now, Connecticut, before the Minimum Wage Act was passed, the minimum wage was risen up to $10.10. What did he have to do? He had to eliminate 30% of his staff. This isn't right. Solely, there's one group of people that the minimum wage hurts. It is our small businesses, and it is those who are the least skilled workers. We've seen in every location where they raise the minimum wage, where small businesses have to lay off people, and where larger businesses have to get rid of their lower requiring jobs. When you walk into a McDonald's, whenever I go to an inner city McDonald's, when they have a location with a raised minimum wage, you no longer see cashiers. You see robots.
All right. Yeah. When you hear that sound, that's the signal that your time's up. All right. Jackery.
Okay, I would like to interject some inequality or whatever Democrats would like to say in terms of the minimum wage. I don't think $14 minimum wage is very necessary unless you're talking about a job that has you doing something physical, like working with a tractor or working at a farm. And I've been seeing a lot of people, especially on social media, where they're talking about how women are getting paid less than men. Well, it's pretty justified why females are getting paid less than men. It's pretty much because men do jobs that actually require hands, as to the female counterparts where they do jobs that are online based or doesn't actually require any hand or body movement at all. So when you take that into perspective, it makes perfect sense that some people would like to call for a $14 minimum wage. However, a $15 minimum wage, but I just don't feel like it's justified in any way whatsoever. I feel like many people are just saying something like that as a way to push their liberal narrative.
All right. Any 30-second rebuttals?
Sure. Just tell me when I can go.
All right. Hold on, I gotta make this 30 seconds. All right. Here we go.
Now, I think I'm able to sum up what my opponent was trying to convey, is that it's basically what I was trying to say, except he was differentiating it on the basis of sex. Of course, yes, men do more physically requiring jobs, and of course, places which have women who are less physically demanding and lower valued employees are going to get laid off. But what he fails to recognize is this isn't just for labor or hard labor-based jobs. It's for all jobs. So if he's elected president, he might keep the minimum wage for cashiers, who will then be laid off because McDonald's doesn't want to pay them. But I'm going to protect everybody, low-skilled or high-skilled workers.
All right. Jack Corey, you any response to that?
No, I think that was a perfect point.
Okay. Hold on. Gotta do something right now. All right. Second question. Would you support? What's your stance on taxes? Starting with you, Jack Sinclair.
When it comes,
Actually, no. Hold on. Actually, no. We'll start with something. All right. So I'll ask you two candidates. Do you pledge? Do you sign the tax pledge, the no new tax pledge? Starting with you, Jack Sinclair.
no.
What about you, Chase?
Could you please repeat the question? I was peeing.
All right. Are you going to join the tax pledge that you will not raise taxes if you are president?
There would be nothing more civically responsible than to sign that pledge.
All right.
I would sign it.
So there's a clear disagreement between you two. You are allowed rebuttals to explain why either one is wrong. Starting with you, Jackery.
Well, I mean, I can respect where Chase Stevens comes from. However, my focus as president is immigration mainly, and when it comes to abortion, and those are really the only two topics I am really focused on when I'm elected president of the United States. I don't think tax is anywhere around the heights as it is for Chase Stevens.
Well, the question is whether you pledged not to raise taxes.
And as I said, I would not.
All right, then why don't you sign the tax pledge?
I wouldn't sign the tax pledge because there's moments in which where you want to have to change the tax code or the tax system in general. So I'm not going to be those type of George Bush Republicans where it's like they tell you they're not going to raise taxes and then they end up doing so anyway, despite saying they weren't going to do it. I want to stay consistent in my administration. So if he's completely fine with signing the tax pledge, that's his thing. If he wants to do it, that's his thing. But personally, that's just something I wouldn't keep up on.
All right. All right. We have our next question. We're going to get into more foreign policy. Right?
Should I be allowed a quick rebuttal on that?
All right. Yeah.
All right. I believe that the cornerstone of any Republican or any decent politician's platform is cutting taxes to a fair amount. If elected, I will pass the Fair Tax Act, which would slash everyone's income tax rate to just 10%. We would eliminate loopholes and actually would decrease the budget by around $1 trillion, giving us about $3.4 trillion. But here's the thing, is that throughout time, and we've seen it especially in the 80s, Ronald Reagan cut taxes, government revenue went up because there's more money to tax. A lower rate, but more money to tax. This works for economics and it works for the American people.
All right, thank you. Let's go to our next question. As you know, there has been turmoil in the Middle East after President Hay became the first LGBT president to be elected. Middle East was pissed off because they're kind of homophobic. Iran has even pulled out of the nuclear deal, and Saudi Arabia has cut trade with us. As president, what would you do to keep the Middle East in order? We will start with who did I start with last time? Help me, guys. I think I started.
You started with me last question.
All right, yeah. All right, Chase. Starting with Chase.
What I would do in the Middle East is I would cut back on these interventionist and regime-changing wars. We are the United States. Yes, we stand for global peace and global freedom. But I think the largest extent of this kind of dealings is only assisting our allies and the sales of arms to countries that we support. So, of course, in cases like Israel and Saudi Arabia, where Saudi Arabia is our only ally in the entire region, people say that we need to cut ties with them because of certain human rights violations. They are right now stopping thousands of terrorist attacks that could be worse than the worst terrorist attack, an attack on this nation, 9/11. So yes, while I would pull out of wars and keep a low influence, I would instead keep our relationship with countries like Saudi Arabia, who will be able to do the dirty work for us, and we will stop having to send our boys and women to go die in needless wars of which we never see an end nor victory.
All right. Harvey, Jackery, your response.
Personally, I would say the interventionist policy is one of the reasons why we got here, but I think the timing of his presidency, Troy Hayes speaking, it was a very bad timing. I really believe that things that have happened within Troy Hayes' presidency wouldn't happen if someone but Troy Hayes was elected. And the reason why I say this is because, the Middle East is pretty homophobic, and to say that somebody who is homosexual is going to deal with homophobic people in diplomacy and stuff like that just doesn't make much sense to me. So I agree that interventionist policy has done a very bad deal when it comes to the Middle East, but I don't think it's just interventionist policies. I think it's the timing of the Troy Hay presidency that really messed up things for us. And I guarantee you that if it was somebody but Troy Hay that was elected, we would have had nothing like this to begin with.
So you're saying we can't elect an LGBT someone on the basis of his sexuality because the Middle East will get pissed?
What I'm saying is if you're trying to engage somebody into a conversation, you have to suit the part. If they don't like homophobic people, but you're homosexual, I don't think you're going to have a very good conversation as if the one person was homophobic and the person was in between where they support homosexuals, but they don't openly reveal it. I think what I believe in terms of this situation is if you're dealing with a area that's typically homophobic, but you're homosexual, I wouldn't be shocked if things don't go the right way, because obviously the temperature contextually and psychiatrically doesn't make much sense.
All right, but anybody want to rebuttal that?
Sure. Can I go?
Hold on, I gotta get the rebuttal time. You are ready.
All right. So, well, I see what my opponent is trying to say is that because these nations do look far downly upon homosexuality, we shouldn't send a homosexual. I disagree with that in the fact that the United States has always stood for human rights, and I believe homosexuality is a human right. That if you choose to be homosexual, that is your choice, and you have the right to do that. But what I do acknowledge is that the president could send people who are not homosexual to be able to negotiate. So I don't think this should be the primary issue we should be talking about. It's all about the regime changing wars. It's all about the interventionist policy and ending it.
Yeah. All right. Any rebuttals from Mr. Sinclair?
Nope.
All right. Let's go to our next question. Which is China. We have a trade deficit with China. China is considered to be ripping us off, yada yada, and this has happened to this has accelerated under the Troy Hay presidency. What would you do as president to stand up to China? Let's start with Mr. Sinclair.
when it comes to standing up with China, we just need people that speak their volume, because if you're in a conversation with somebody, I think it's very important that you don't portray yourself as an idiot and that you don't portray yourself as too overconfident. And I think that many people would say, okay, doing these major deals with China would actually help help both of you in the long run. And I agree with that 100%. But I think one thing that really matters is your body language too. You can't go into a meeting with Xi Jinping and expect everything to go really well. You have to make sure you speak the volume of the person you're talking to and deliver the same kind of energy the person you are talking to is delivering. So I think I mean, personally, I don't have much experience when it comes to dealing with China and these kinds of countries. But personally, I think you have to use some body language in order to actually allow them to give you some sort of victory.
All right. Chase Stevens, your response? Chase?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I would
Sorry.
believe that we need to amp up tariffs against China. Now, I understand that there could be some certain issues with increasing prices of steel, but that's worth it. China is ripping us off. We are getting destroyed daily by China's economic policies. And not only that, but they are committing several human rights violations. It's time for the U.S. to step up and realizes that and acknowledge that we can no longer be trampled by China through its awful economic policies, while American workers, American businesses, and American steel workers are being abused. Therefore, by implementing these tariffs against China, we will be able to increase our own economic growth and make our economy more centralized. And you know what? There's an added benefit to this. We can get China to the negotiating table. We can close that deficit and even have a trade surplus. Because I guarantee you, and we're actually seeing this in real life, about how these tariffs are destroying China's economy, they will come to the negotiating table under my policy, under my presidency.
All right. Any rebuttals to anything?
No.
All right. Our next question, we'll go back to economy here. So we've had 3% GDP growth, a relatively healthy economy. Would you say the economy is good? Would you say it's not that good or something? And what would you do to make the economy better? We will start with Chase.
Thank you, JP. I think the only reason that the economy is somehow suffering is because our president isn't doing his job. But if we were to have a president who was doing his job, I think we could see 5, 6, even 8% GDP growth, because there's so much potential. So what I would do about the economy is I just spoke about my tariffs against China and how that would help our domestic business. But on the other hand, I would cut taxes. I already spoke about the fair tax proposal, which will create 5 million jobs in 5 years, expected to grow up to possibly 10, 15 million jobs in actually 10 or 15 years. We will be able to see business growth across the board around 16%, wage growth 13%. We will then later down the line at about 10 years, we'll start seeing revenue growth for the United States income tax grow by 13% from there on. And why? Because, like I said, there will be more money for us to tax. This will help the economy. It will free up investors and businessmen to reinvest their saved capital into growing jobs, businesses, and grow the economy and its growth.
All right. He left.
Sorry.
I would like to interject and say I am not very intelligent when it comes to this topic. Clearly haven't unlocked level 99 IQ in this topic, so I will gladly move on to the next question.
Do you still want a response though?
You just
No.
said about the econ.
Yeah, this is about the economy.
Do you have any
is
economic
good or
policy?
bad and stuff like, and how you would make it better or something?
Anything?
I think one way I could probably make it better is by allowing more companies. Because I don't think that, like, okay, say for example, like America pretty much gains like about like 100,000, 200,000 jobs every month, according to whatever sources they are. But yeah, I think that we should make it a little higher by maybe even fighting up against China and all these countries that are messing us up bigly. So I think that's one way we could be able to deal with that. But anything other than this topic, I don't have much intellect.
All right. Any rebuttals?
I think from whatever policy he was able to mutter, I think he had it okay.
All right. All right. Let's go to a bit of, I guess, we're going to talk about how we can beat Troy Hay on the issue of electability. How should we think? How are you gonna beat Troy Hay? We will start with Jackery Sinclair.
The only way you're gonna beat Troy Hayes by being smart. Okay, you can't be level 1 intellects. You can't be over here going to one state 16 times. It won't work here. You have to have time to campaign because you seriously can't do one campaign speech and be like, okay, it's done for today. We can go back to sleep and maybe we can eat some ice cream while we're at it too. No, you have to actually try your best. You know, you actually have to fight for your cause, and I think people like Troy Hay don't understand. You know, I've had very good history of running against Troy Hay, and Troy Hay has a tendency of doing exactly what I said. Doing one speech, going to sleep, waking up, doing one speech a day. It really wouldn't be enough against somebody who's campaigning 6 to 8 times a day. So when it comes to electability, if we keep on seeing what's going on with the Hay campaign for his re-election bid, I think it's guaranteed he's going to lose re-election, maybe by a bigger landslide that he got against Infinite Kid or whoever the Republican was in the first cycle. But I genuinely believe
there was a lot of Republicans running.
But in all honesty, when it comes to electability, I think it's indefinite that Troy Hay will lose re-election, and it's mainly because of the incompetency that's happening in his campaign, the lack of campaigning, and the lack of focus and energy and thought that's gone to his campaign. It's just limited. It's like going to a store and going on to one of those vending machines, and the vending machine's broken. Like there's no drinks at all that you can't even put your.
All right, yeah. All right. We could talk about vending machines all day, but we have to get Chase Stevens' time. All right,
Well,
Chase.
the first thing I would do that we didn't do in our 2016 election is not be Infinite Kid. We ran a poor little kid who didn't have a strong outline of policy against Troy Hay. If I would have voted at that time, I would have found myself voting for Troy Hay because I did not have belief in Infinite Kid's competence. However, what I am going to say is that Troy Hay's competence is not much better than Infinite Kid's. So what I think we as Republicans need to do is stand up and say, this person has not been active. They have not been doing their job, and it's time to put someone in that office who will do the job of President of the United States. Troy Hay is going to be the Democratic nominee. And I guess it'll be either Jake or myself who will be the Republican nominee. It's time for us Republicans to decide who will be the more who will have that, as Jake likes to put it, level 99 intellect. I'm sorry. He only has... And you know what? I believe I am the one with that level 99 intellect. Much higher than Troy Hay's negative 99 intellect. And I think with enough hard work and demonstrating of our strong policies, we can turn this country around.
All right. I like it. I like the level 99 intellect. All right. Anybody want a 30-second rebuttal?
Like I said before, Troy Hay.
All right.
Vote for Chaser Sevens. Thank you.
Any rebuttal, so?
I didn't even hear what he said, so.
Yeah. We will go to our next question. Who did I start with last time again? I forgot.
You started with Jack.
Oh yeah, I started with Jackery. Okay, yeah. So this is Chase. This is actually more of a personal question with you. So you have been one of the most partisan Republicans, out there, as in terms of a national figure. You've been chairman of the Republican Party. The Republicans have been a little bit partisan. So, do you see yourself working with Democrats if you are elected president?
Well, here's the thing. I haven't been in government for much longer. I'm a senator-elect now, and the people of Texas recognize that we need smart people. Right now, the Democrats aren't giving anyone that's too smart. We have people that are stupid. We need people in charge that are smart. And once the Democrats start bringing people who are smart, who can have intellectual conversations, people that aren't Troy Hay, people that who Democrats whom I respect, like Sam Martinez, who I believe was just elected governor, people like Terrell McCann, who I believe was also just elected governor of, I think, Ohio.
Yeah.
People like that I can bring to the negotiating table. People like Troy Hay I can't. So when the Democrats start doing that, we can compromise. We can talk about what's best for the nation. So why don't you do that?
All right. Harvey?
What makes you think I'm gonna work with some stupid level 99 dweebs? Like I'm level 199. Okay, I don't have time for these level 99 noobs. Okay,
you know what? I believe that our American people deserve better than for us to just call our political opponents noobs and instead try and work with them.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
All right. We're going on to immigration here. Do you support the use of a border wall? We will start with Jackery Sinclair.
No, I believe that there's other ways, such as deportation. And when it comes to immigration in general, I don't really believe in it because it's not necessarily a different country's obligation to take care of you and give you all this revenue and yada, yada, yada. I think it just doesn't make any sense. It's like leaving your door open and a bunch of people running up and saying that they need food and stuff like that. And I think that due to how soft the society has been, I think many people are inclined to give them food and support and anything like that without actually knowing that's not their obligation to do so. So when it comes to immigration, I don't think a wall would do anything. I think a wall would make it much more of an attraction to go in and do whatever those immigrants want. But personally, I don't like the idea of immigration, and I think that it should be minimalized and we should be doing more deportations.
All right, so you want stricter border enforcement, just no wall.
Yes.
All right, let's go to Chase Stevens.
First of all, I would build a wall. I think a necessary physical structure between us and illegal immigrants is necessary. It slows down the time of illegals crossing, and it gives our brave border agents a better chance to catch them. So if my opponent really believed in what he says, he would support the border wall. But second of all, my opponent is putting out some very xenophobic, and I hate to use a liberal word there, but some very xenophobic connotations. I'm for immigration. I want immigrants that will help the nation to come in as much as possible. Therefore, if elected president, I will sign in the Immigration Merit-Based Act. What is that? It makes sure that immigrants who speak English, immigrants who will bring wealth and prosperity, who have a job, people like doctors, businessmen, entrepreneurs, they get priority over some drug cartel leader or someone who's just going to suckle off the system. And I also will, and within that act, I will also ensure that immigrants will not, and any persons who has not come in until their third generation will be able to get government benefits, as we can't have more non-Americans coming in and suckling off of the government teat.
Thank you. Let's go to Jackery Sinclair for. Oh, well, no, I don't know. Whoever wants for rebuttal.
Man, I don't want no rebuttal.
Man.
Man, I don't want no rebuttals. All right.
Ooh, this is fun. More questions, man. More questions.
All right. We will go to guns. Yeah.
Favorite.
All right. Should we have any more restrictions on guns, and if so, what? We will start with Chase.
No, we should not have more restrictions on firearms. As a matter of fact, in my presidency, I would decrease restrictions on firearms. As a matter of fact, I would lower the age to be able to buy a handgun to 18. I would make sure that you could purchase SBRs, guns with shorter barrels. I would make it illegal for states to ban any kind of firearm, as on the purview of Heller versus DC. There's already a Supreme Court case passed that shows that it's unconstitutional for any place to ban different accessories or a specific kind of firearm. So I would write legislation backing that up to make sure that no state, no city can keep you between you and your sacred right to keep and bear firearms. Right now, our current president is infringing all over what our founding fathers literally killed and died for. I will make sure that you can protect your family like a snap of your finger.
Yep. Protect you against them level 99 noobs, am I right?
Oh, yeah, I cannot allow those noobs in.
No. All right. Let's go to Jackery Sinclair.
Listen up, stupid. I kill people with guns, okay? I don't have time for the government telling me, oh, I can't use my guns. Like, bruh, I don't know who these people think they are with them, gun restrictions. We're gonna ban all fucking guns. No, I'll use guns whenever I want, okay? I have that permit, okay? It's shiny, okay? If you wanna read it, go ahead. But I have my restrictions, and I have my restraints personally on what I can kill and what I cannot kill. I've killed people with guns, okay? It is completely fine, because I live in Canada, and we live in a country where people say sorry for everything. So you can shoot somebody, and all they would say is sorry, and you can get it done.
Wait, Jakery, what kind of office have you held before this?
I've held black people. Wait.
Wait, what kind of office have you been in before this?
Before this, I have been the senator and the original mech. I've been vice president and I've been representative. I've done all sorts of things in my time. Totally did not kill people.
All right, so vice president, are you saying that you killed people?
Correct.
And
all right. Rebuttals. Rebuttals.
No. No, I think we're good.
All right. Yeah. Let's go to all right. So there has been a lot of homophobic protests, especially in the days of the first LGBT president in our nation's history. How do you condemn this homophobia? We will start with Jackery Sinclair.
No, I do not condemn these. I do not condemn these mass acts of love and support. The reason why I see this is because let's think about it specifically, okay? You're average human, okay? And most people are pretty much born straight unless you're someone else, which I don't know what I can say about you, It's not my business. But yeah. Oh shit. But yeah, it's not my business to tell you what you can do with your own body or what you can love and what gender you can preference yourself with. But personally, I wouldn't want people I know to be gay or lesbian If you do, that's completely fine. There's nothing I can really do. I can't shoot you in the face for being gay, or I can't really stab you for being lesbian. It's not my business. If you want to do what you want to do it. But personally,
there's homophobic protests.
homophobic was saying you cannot condemn these. Shit. Oh yeah, I can't kill people. I mean I can, but only if you're homophobic.
But do you the question is, do you condemn these protests?
No, I do not.
All right. So you're perfectly okay with homophobic protests against Jorge.
Correct. This is the First Amendment. What do you want me to do?
All right. We will go with Chase.
So the difference between my opponent and myself is that I actually respect the First Amendment in the matter that I will come out and condemn these protests. Now, I do believe that they could take place. I do believe that if you choose to come out against homosexuality, that is your choice, and I completely support you to come out and protest against whatever you like, as long as you're not inciting violence. The same, I would that I would defend people's right to be able to come out in support of a gay president. Now, recent polling shows that only 36% of the American public was ready for a gay president. I believe the Democrats should have acknowledged this. While policy shouldn't be based off of sexuality, sex, race, anything like that, it should be based off of what the American people want. And what the American people want is someone who fits the American people's average way. Only 3.5% of the American population is actually, matter of fact, a little bit less, is part of the LGBTQ community. We need a representative of the silent majority of the American people, not just 3.5%.
All right. Any rebuttals?
I agree. Black people are insane.
Okay, you're black, so I wouldn't really like.
He can say it. He's black. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Next question, gamer.
All right. So for the record, Italian people are stupid. All right, there we go. I made fun of myself. Okay.
Well, I'm Italian too. So.
Oh yeah, lit. Okay.
Benvenuti. Per tutti, carattore.
It's American. It's American.
Boia. Mamma mia.
Everything is temporary, Loretta. Everything is all right. Okay. I'm gonna stop here.
Please do.
Forget about it.
All
right. Anywho, let's go to our next question. Oh man, I forgot. All right.
Can we just stop ourselves and say what's going through our minds right now?
Yeah, we kind of got carried away with the level 99 stuff.
No, not like that. Like, why do black people exist? Like, nobody asks these questions.
Why do humans exist? No, that's I think the more important question. Oh yeah, abortion. Are you pro-life or pro-choice? We will start with
me.
Yeah, because like Jackery went last time.
I have first and foremost always been an advocate of the right to life of the unborn. I acknowledge that there is 56 million murders taking place every year, and it appears that the Democratic Party and Troy Hay doesn't care about them. I believe that this should be a bipartisan issue, that we should stand up for the right to life. You know, whenever I debate people on the left, I have sympathy. I have sympathy for them because I understand where they're coming from. But I also say that, listen, it's not your body. It's not your choice. That is life. That is something that has the opportunity to become the next Bill Gates. Why do you have the right to end it? That's why I'm pro-life. That's why I believe. And that's why if I am president, I will sign into law an 8-week abortion ban to make sure that if a baby has a heartbeat, which is 8 weeks is the time of the is the heartbeat, then it can live on. It can go on to become the next Bill Gates, or can go on to become the next Barack Obama, or not Barack Obama, who was a good president, no, Ronald Reagan.
All right, Jackery Sinclair,
I am 141% pro-life. You can't kill babies. If you kill babies, you're literally Satan, okay? You're literally Hitler. You're going to die in the next few weeks. Just stop right now and think to yourself, what makes you right to kill your baby? If you're not completely fine with somebody else killing your baby, what makes you think point A allows you to do point B? This doesn't make any sense to me. Stupid Asians.
Okay.
Okay then. Any
No rebuttal.
rebuttals to that?
Actually, you know what? I think that my policy is more filled with compromise. That I'll be able to go and reach across the aisle with competent people and be able to find the best solution. And that's what my policy has. With black and white thinking like my opponent Sinclair's, is that we won't get anything done.
Yeah, level 99 thinking. All right. Let's
As
go.
much as I may agree with them.
Yeah. Let's go to our next question, which is, who do you think is our number one geopolitical foe? We will start with Jackery Sinclair.
The worst geopolitical foe has to be me. I'm not even in America. I'm literally like in Canada. So Canadian people, they're stupid people. So I gotta say it's Canada.
I believe I speak on behalf of the entire Republican Party when I say I'd like to hear a real answer, Mr. Sinclair.
Okay, the real answer is China. They're stupid people.
All right. He says China.
China.
Chase, who do you think is the most
China
dangerous?
is the biggest threat to this nation, believe me. Okay, but seriously, I agree with Mr. Sinclair on this, that China is the greatest threat to America. But it's not for his reasoning. I believe it's actually the opposite, that China isn't stupid people. As a matter of fact, filled with a lot of smart people, a lot of smart and dangerous people that invented a submarine that can carry a nuclear missile, come to the coasts of the East Coast, the coast of Connecticut, where my family's restaurant is, and nuke the Capitol, nuke where we are both trying to fight to live in the White House. I believe that we need to take aggressive matters against China and make sure that a fateful day like that never occurs. That's the difference between me and my opponent, is that I understand what we need to do to solve these issues. But giving him that, I think he acknowledges the issues, and I look forward to having him as my running mate.
All right. Well, I think Republican voters want a serious answer.
I didn't wait. Was my answer not serious?
No, I was talking about Jackery's answer, obviously. All right, so let's go to another question.
Is this debate gonna be like 3 hours long?
I hope so.
Actually, no. This is the closing statements here.
Wait, no, we aren't going to talk about healthcare.
Oh yeah, healthcare. What is each of your healthcare plans? We will start with Jackery Sinclair. Chase Stevens. Sorry.
Okay. My healthcare plan is called the Healthcare Choice Proposal. We would allow people to purchase whatever private insurance they want to, and depending on their income status, we would allow a healthcare subsidy to be able to pay off some of that private insurance costs. At the same time, because the prices of medicine keep staggering upwards and upwards, I would allow people to purchase medicine from Canada, from Europe, to be able to access cheaper prices. And when American medicine makers realize that they are getting outdone by foreign pharmaceutical companies, they will have to realize that they need to lower their prices even lower, and we'll be able to get lower cost American medicine.
All right. Jackery Sinclair, your response?
Me personally, I'm right in line with Chase Stevens. But another thing I would want to say is when people complain about how the American system, and when it comes to healthcare, it needs to be revamped and stuff like that, and they want a Canadian style or European style of healthcare system, just remember, for me to get medicine at the doctor's, it takes an hour and a half because of waiting times. I mean, sure, you can say, okay, it's a lot smoother with a European or Canadian healthcare style, but yeah, it is smoother, but it's just not affordable in the United States of America. And even if it was affordable, it wouldn't be as commute wise having the same system that you had before. So when Democrats, especially socialists, complain about how this system in America sucks, wait till you see the ones that are in the European or countries, or let alone Canada itself. It literally takes you 45 to 2 hours to get medicine, and even if it's Tylenol, even if it's an extra strength or any kind of pill, it still will literally take you more than 30 minutes. So if you're in a very sticky situation where it's like you need your support quickly, you would not want to wait more than 30 minutes. You would want to get it quickly. And I know a lot of people would say, okay, in Canada, there's Shoppers Drug Mart, but it doesn't do as much good as of getting it from a doctor. So I personally agree with Chase Stevens, but that's just something I want to interject with this topic.
And
All
I
right,
actually would like to say I really appreciate that testimony, and I really appreciate someone who grew up in Canada and recognizes that how awful the socialized healthcare medicine that Troy Hay is trying to propose.
All right. That's your rebuttal?
Yep.
All right. What topic did we? Oh yeah. So, which is more important to you, the coal miners or the environment? We will start with Jackery Sinclair.
Oh, this should be an easy one.
To be honest, I would say the coal miners. The coal miners have to be the most important parts of American industry in general. Manufacturing, it all depends on coal miners. So for somebody like Hillary Clinton back in 2016 to say they're going to shut down,
Troy. Well, not even
let alone Troy Hay. I think it's
Troy
pretty.
actually was backing the coal miners. Sorry.
Fake news. Fake news.
No, he was not
Fake
supporting
news.
coal miners. He was doing the exact opposite, and he's doing the exact opposite now. In his presidency, he's done absolutely nothing for coal miners. Zilch. Zero. And that's something I want the next Republican president to elaborate on and do something when it comes to coal mining businesses, because they're very important to sustaining a proper economy in America.
All right. Chase, your response?
I think this is one of the few times that I'm actually able to say I completely agree with Mr. Sinclair, or Vice President Sinclair, is that I believe that coal miners, let alone any job, is important to remain in our economy. Remember, the climate and the free market is self-regulating. When it realizes that there needs to be a change in the climate, it will occur. But if we are just to forcibly go in and start slashing the jobs of coal miners in the name of a slight acute climate change, then I don't understand what this country was found upon. We have always been found upon doing the best thing for the greatest amount of people. That's what I believe as a Republican. And for us to forget about those 50,000 upwards coal miners, I don't understand how Troy Hay can sleep at night thinking about them.
All right. Now let's go to.
Seriously, let's closing statement.
Hey guys, I have only 4 more minutes.
Listen, let's move on to the.
All right. We will have one more question and then closing statement. Actually, no. Let's just get to the closing statements here. Closing statements, starting with Chase Stevens.
I'm pretty sure whoever gives the whoever gives the first opening statement goes. Whoever gives the second opening statement goes last.
All right, then let's
Guess you
go with
gotta go.
Jackery Sinclair. Sorry.
Vote for Chase Stevens, please. I beg you. I'll literally die on my knees to support that guy. Like he's like his profile picture. Ice cream deal. Come on, man. Support Chase Stevens, or you will literally slip and fall on a slippy slide. You'll fall on your bed. You'll fall on nightstands, on anything. Support him. Thank you.
My opponent is a liar and a thief. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right? I know, right? It reminds me of that moment.
From South Park.
All right, yes. Your response, your closing statement, Mr. Stevens. Senator
You know
Stevens.
what? I think this is the third moment where Jake and I have been perfectly in line. Now, there have been a lot of moments where we've come pretty close, but this is where we're perfectly in line. Is that there is a difference between these two candidates. Someone who's ready to be president and someone who's ready to be vice president. I believe I am the former of those people. I have exhibited of why I can achieve for this nation greatness, that we can bring back the American dream. That's my campaign slogan, is restoring the American dream. I believe that I can do that. I believe with my policies of cutting taxes, of cutting regulations, of fixing our issues in trade with China, and maximizing freedom, we can really restore what has been destroyed by 4 years of Troy Hay. You know, I remember reading Conscience of a Conservative by my hero, Barry Goldwater, and he states this one quote that I believe is the cornerstone of what should be the policy of any man or woman who wants to cut down on government influence and maximize freedom. That we will fight for the maximum amount of freedom consistent with social order. That I will fight against crime, but I will fight for your rights. I will fight for every bit of freedom that I can get for you. That's why I'm running for president. Thank you, and God bless this country.
Alrighty. We have ended the debate here. Thank you all. And I thank Jackery Sinclair and Chase Stevens for their level 99 performance today.
Seriously, nigga, I need to go snort some cocaine.
Okay.
I think your closing statement was the best part.
Yeah.